Hi, Richard Wilson here. Welcome to episode 5 of TK's Guitar Services, and I'm here with the esteemed TK, Tom Keckler, luthier to the stars, and he's very modest. You can't tell he's so modest. And today we're going to talk about TK's collaboration with David Schecter, a high-end parts manufacturer in the 70s. So maybe you'd like to pick up the story. Where you met.
Yeah,
where you met David.
I was at a Atlanta trade show, NAMM show, and what was I doing there? I don't know. But anyway, I was approached by Schecter people, and that they had seen some things I'd done, and particularly finish work, and you know, more or less what we call boutique guitar work.
So were they looking for you to design a guitar to showcase their parts, like bridges and
right? They didn't have any way of advertising really, you know, other than somebody using one of their guitars, which they didn't have. So the original contract with them was I would build 2 a week. With the help of Tom Anderson, of course.
Who obviously went on to form his own esteemed Anderson Guitars, which is a great company.
Outrageous guitars,
yeah.
But anyway, the early days of the term boutique, I guess you could say, you know, custom made, no two are alike, that type of thing. So that was basically the way I understood it. So first thing I did for him was a guitar shaped like a Telecaster. And I had done one back in Memphis at our shop. And, you know, you take an old crumbly body or something that's worth nothing else, and you bind it with cream binding, and then you paint it black. With a maple neck.
So this is actually, I'm going to show you a picture of what this guitar became. And there's a very famous guitar player playing this one, and we'll pick that story up. That's Pete Townshend of The Who actually used the Schecter T-style guitar that TK designed on the Who 79 tour. So that's basically the backstory then. So you were at... you know, developing a guitar to showcase the high-end.
Yeah, it wasn't a brand new idea, because like I said, I did one like that back in Memphis for a real interesting person. And so it just naturally came to me. The first thing I'll do for Schecter is pretty much that black telly-bound cream maple neck with Schecter pickups. And then that was the one that went to, I think, to Manny's.
Manny's Music, famous New York store.
That's where Pete Townshend saw it in the window, and he had no real. He just had a draw to it, I guess. You know. Plus, he was tired carrying that Les Paul around.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you told me that he had broken his hip several times with
that's what I had heard. And I mean, if you ever saw him in the late 70s, early 80s type Who shows, you could see how he might hurt himself, because he was crazed, but good. And also the fact that you don't throw a Les Paul off the stage to a tech or something and expect him to catch it without a broken neck or a broken tech, for that matter.
Because I remember the Won't Get Fooled Again video of them in '77, and Townshend's playing a tambourine, or Baba O'Reilly. It's one of those songs that they did, and the Les Paul is just banging his hip. It's just absolutely crazy.
That hurts me just to think about it.
Yeah.
I have bad hips.
So I understand. So Pete, he loved the guitar, but he didn't.
Pardon me.
Sure, but he did not want a special deal. I understand.
That scared us at first, you know. Not me particularly, but certainly the hierarchy at Schecter, executive-wise. They thought that was a chance to get endorsed by somebody's famous hymn.
Yeah.
And that would be a great form of advertising, But Pete Townshend wouldn't do it. He didn't believe in endorsing, and the Schecter people faded, but I told him, I said, I think it's really a good thing, because it's better to have someone out there playing your guitar and being seen than it is to stand there next to a famous person and smile.
Yeah.
And they said, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
So Pete, how many did he buy? He bought a whole bunch
Yeah,
of full
he did.
retail.
He liked them so much. He liked that one so much, and he just wanted some different colored ones. He wanted another black one. I know for sure that he gave to Daltrey.
Really?
In fact, that one video of them.
Yeah, I think it's Eminence Front.
That's where
Daltrey.
Yeah, was slaying, and he gave him one to do that, and
so how many guitars were supplied?
I think maybe 9 or 10. There was a gold top he wanted made, and he wanted at least one cherry top.
Okay.
And then on and on.
Was there any contact between Pete and the Who's management with you guys at all?
No.
No, interesting. It was just through Manny.
Well, I tell you, one reason is because Pete was paying retail, the factory, what he paid Manny's.
Okay.
In other words, he wasn't getting a deal.
Oh, okay. And you supplied them directly.
And he didn't care.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I guess they're tools of the trade, and that's the way.
Yeah.
Pete looked at it.
Yeah.
And the other thing I was going to ask you about was you had a visitor at the time. You said Eddie Van Halen.
Well, as a real young man, it was my understanding that, according to Tom Anderson, I think it was, that he would come in every now and then. I never observed it. I don't know, but that's where he was very interested in guitars. And not necessarily aesthetics, or maybe the way he saw aesthetics. I don't know. Instead of using a Phillips head screw, you use a nail.
Yeah, you had the old meat hook for the strap lock on the top one.
That's all there is to it.
So this is like 1977. Somewhere around there. So he's coming in, and so he was asking about, was it neck angle and pickup placement?
Yeah. That's my understanding. He had a pretty good concept of those basic things that go into a bolt-on construction guitar. But as far as, the rest of it, the placement of pickups and what kind of neck, and all. I don't really know. I think it was what did he say? I guess it was a Kramer one.
Yeah.
Okay. And they've been around a long, long time. And so he started out with that and started doing his personal thing to it, parts-wise, and eventually got into Floyd Rose.
So, and I think, you said that Eddie Van Halen, he had made some kind of feedback, comments regarding the design which were adopted.
It's my understanding, Floyd Rose.
Floyd Rose, yeah.
Okay, sent a mock-up, if you will, a prototype of what he had come up with, and in his garage with a Bridgeport mill, and I remember Tom Anderson and I got it to R&D or whatever, and we thought it was like what is this, a mouse trap or something?
early tremolo systems. I guess again it's the thing where the musicians and the music, they're driving the technology. And we were talking this before, where there was just nothing out there to be able to do the dive bombs and pulling back and then get it back in tune. But it was the music that was driving it. So that's fascinating.
Well, that's true. But it also, most people thought he had it floating, so he could come back and forward. He didn't. He had the tailpiece flat against the body with just a tad bit of space. So most of his and then if you pull hard enough, you can get the reverse sound without even floating the bridge.
Fascinating.
One of his many little tricks.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know who. Maybe he came up with it himself, or maybe he had somebody else in the background do it. But he certainly was into guitars at big time, and but that one that he nailed together was the guitar.
That is unreal, isn't it? I mean, that was the start of a whole new era for music and guitar technology. And you showed me, I think it was an old brochure. Did you build a bass for Tim, who was with Bogert? Tim Bogert. Beck Bogert in a piece. You built
I
a
did.
bass for
We
him.
built him a very nice exotic wood type of a bass, Bobinga,
wow.
and Booyah, and all kinds of wood together.
And that was the start of that really exotic wood thing and high-end parts. And because I remember growing up in England, just around that time, and Wall basses came out, and there was a whole end of a whole slew of high-end exotic woods and things like that.
Yeah. And Tom and I used to wonder, well, why in the world would all these other successful guitar companies just stick with mahogany and ash and maple and rosewood and maybe a couple others, alder, I mean, there's so many really unique beautiful pieces of wood. What they do to the sound, that's a different story. You had to really do it to find out. But you knew that it was going to look good.
Yeah. Well, you told me the story of the zebra wood that exploded in one night. Which is another story.
A whole other story. Yeah, it's a whole nother.
So it was basically the climatic change to split the wood. Was that the?
Yeah. Well, this is Mad Isles, California, and with the Santa Ana winds being what they are, or what they were then anyway, and I'm sure they're still a problem. But where you house the wood and the partially done bodies, like just had been routed, and they were hanging, waiting to be painted, really. Yeah. And so they had these misters all over the place. I mean, it was a big deal. It was more important than a burglar alarm.
Right.
Because if the humidity, barometric pressure or something, I know two of the misters failed. Okay. I think that was it, or maybe more than that. So they dried out, but which was all the rest of them could handle it, but this one wood, zebra wood, couldn't handle it.
And it exploded.
It pretty much did, because the tree itself, as my understanding, it's separate trees that grow and then they start intertwining. Yeah, and then when they reach maturity, they're one solid. But a lot of energy inside of them that wants to get out, kind of like an atomic bomb or something.
The force of nature. And I wanted to ask you, what other clients did you guys have at Schecter? Did you build some guitars for Brian Setzer? I think it was a tea style.
Yeah, he got one of the a special order. It was once again it was the Telecaster shaped body, bound of course, and it was a really beautiful sunburst I put on it, and
so did Schecter develop pickups?
So
he developed basically all the hardware. So
David Schecter, not a guitar player, but a genius.
Okay,
a bona fide genius.
Wow.
And he designed the pickups and the machines that you wound the pickups with.
Oh, wow.
And he also designed the milling machines, that would work with wood.
Wow! So he
pin routers, and
he designed all of that equipment to produce the parts.
Yeah,
well.
He worked 22-hour days.
I was going to say, to fit all that time in to do that, because I guess for what he was looking for, wasn't commercially available.
Well, the parts of it was like a giant pin router.
Yeah,
he got from Boeing Aircraft Company in a basic part that they were going to get rid of it. It was big, heavy monster. It probably weighed 5,000 pounds or something like that.
Yeah.
It had to be real rigid in order to take somebody with a piece of ash or something and a big router bit and start.
Oh my word!
Yeah. It scared the hell out of me.
Yeah, I can believe that. So so Schecter did amazing, because I remember in England they had. They were, guitar stores were stocking them, and over here, obviously. So what happened to Schecter? Or you could give me the edited version, how it all went down,
I could possibly give you the edited version.
So,
I could, really. The CFO of the company walked into the bank one evening and withdrew all the money and went to Mexico.
Oh.
There you go.
What can we say? This is rock and roll guitar building, and this is fascinating stuff here. So
happens every day, I'm sure.
I'm sure it does. Well, that's rock and roll for you. So once again, TK, thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you
with us. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Remember to like and subscribe, and we're going to pick it up next time with episode 6, and we're going to be talking about the next adventure of TK's guitar history. So look out for it, and we will see you soon. Take care.